Hello, and welcome to Sponge Stories, the podcast for face painters by face painters. I'm Siobhan, the face behind Theatrics Faces, and I'm on a mission to lift the lid on what it really takes to build a face painting business, the good, the messy, and everything in between. Each episode, I'll be chatting to artists, industry experts, and real working face painters about the things that we don't always talk about. Pricing struggles, burnout, confidence, boundaries, growth, and how to actually make this job work for your life. So whether you're painting your first full face or juggling a fully booked diary this year, you're in the right place. Let's get straight into today's episode. Hello, welcome back to Sponge Stories. Today we have Sara from the Artful Dabber joining us, and we're just going to have a chat about everything. So yeah, how did you first get into face painting then? Tell us your story.
How long have you got? Okay, well, sort of very, very long story short, I was 55 and I was working in the public sector and had done for a couple of decades, a bit longer, in quite a sort of serious management role, quite senior, lots of responsibility, budget, staff, you name it. And I started going through the menopause and it wasn't healthy. It wasn't great. It really affected me mentally. And I started to really struggle at work, having done sort of 22 years of being really on it. um, it really, really had an impact on me. Work weren't very supportive. And so I decided to take early retirement at 55. But I knew that there was no way I could sit and do nothing because that wouldn't have been good for my mental health at all. And I was in a really low place. And funny enough, I went to a local village fete and there was a lady there who obviously was a hobbyist doing face painting for the local village fete. And I got chatting to her, Marie. She's a lovely lady called Marie. And I got chatting to her and I watched what she did and I thought, oh, I really like that. And bearing in mind, my previous job was working with children and young people. I do love working with children and young people. And I also always been a little bit arty, being left handed as well, a bit arty. So, yeah, I got chatting to Marie and said, would you mind if I sort of had a look about what you did and have a chat with you about what you do? And then I thought, I really like that. And then, so I did a bit more research and I came across a lady called Juliet Eve, who I believe you've spoken to.
I have spoken to lovely Juliet.
Yeah. And Juliet was amazing. So I joined Juliet online. I thought, well, let's give this a go. I had no concept of the size of this industry. I had no awareness of anything to do with face painting prior to this. I just thought it was mums who did it at school as a hobby type thing, which is fine. But I had absolutely no understanding of how absolutely huge it is, and how well supported it is as well. Everyone's really sort of engaging with one another, supportive of one another. So yeah, I got on to Juliet, had a long conversation with Juliet, joined her online fan club. Um, and it sort of went from there really. Once I got starting to talking to Juliet and sort of going on their online meetings and meeting other face painters, I started to realise all the connections and quite how serious it could be as a business. Because initially I didn't really see it as a business. I thought, oh, it would just be something to do. And then it sort of went from there really. I got in with Juliet and got in with other face painters and started seeing it, and then started spending a lot of money on kit. Far too much money. I think it must be the undiagnosed ADHD within me. Yeah. And it sort of took up from there. It very, very quickly became a big part of my life. Initially, it was Marie and Juliet, really. And obviously, not feeling great from the menopause, it really, really helped with my mental health because everywhere I went, everyone was happy and there was no stress and no pressure. And very, very soon I got feeling a lot better. I was feeling a lot better. And I started to come out the other side, which, so it really helped that side of things as well. So yeah, that's it. That's sort of the background, really, in a nutshell.
Did you go into it thinking that this would be a hobby or that you could create a business?
First of all, it was a hobby. I knew that you could earn money from it, but I had no idea what that looked like. Yeah, yeah, maybe a mini business, a bit of a sort of side hustle, as people say.
Yeah.
I want to earn a few pennies, go out a couple of weekends. I had no idea, absolutely no idea, and no vision for anything bigger than that at that point.
Yeah.
I spent probably about 6 months not doing anything. I mean, in terms of not going out or going to any kind of parties or jobs. And I just stayed at home, did all the courses I could. I went on Sally Ann Lynch's course.
Mm.
I went on Donna Godfrey's course. I went on Claire Harris's course, Face It
You
course.
did everybody's
I
course.
did everyone's courses, an online course with Karen Huon. I thought, "Right, I'm gonna spend 6 months just doing everything," because I
Mm.
didn't want to go out there and give it half levels. I wanted to make sure that once I went out there, if I was gonna give this to the public, I did it properly. I wanted to be a proper face painter. I wanted one of those people that people say, "Oh, that was really good," wow.
Yeah.
It was important to me to do it right, and that's why I thought, well, let me invest in all these courses. Let me go and meet all these people who've been doing it for years, and let me get that under my belt first of all before I actually start putting myself out to the public. It's about 6 months, I suppose, of constant sort of training courses, practice, refining my products that I was using, not, realizing that Temu and Amazon are not the places to buy Facebook paint.
Yeah, I think we all do that, don't we? I got them for practice, and they were good to practice with, just sort of like on the boards or my own arms to start with. But then when I eventually sort of like wanted to do paid work and stuff, and I bought the proper kit, I realized that actually it's better off just practicing with the proper kit because they're so much nicer.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I get loads of my stuff from sort of two main dealers in the UK, and
Mm.
I don't think I can mention them, but
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Mention away.
Magic Box is amazing, and Two Meanie tend to be my main dealers. And now, more recently, Face Painting Hub. I get a lot of my kit off of Face Painting Hub, my brushes and paints. Those are the three places really. First of all, in the beginning, it was Magic Box and Two Meanie, and they were, oh my gosh, I spent too much money. And even now, it's just as much an obsession. I want the new thing that's coming out, but it gives me pleasure, so that's
Yeah.
important.
And I think we all do, don't we? And nothing beats that dopamine hit of like,
It is
packages are arriving today.
so much, so much. Yeah, it's lovely.
After 6 months of honing your craft then, what was your first paid job?
My first paid job was a local village. Again, I live very, very rurally, so it's not a busy area. I'm not in a city or a town. Everything around me is little villages. My nearest shop is about 5 miles away. I don't even have a pub in my village. So it was the neighbouring village, Belsham St Paul, and it was in a school. It was a playtime, a sort of holiday time playgroup type thing for the older children. So all the kids are about 5, 6, 7, that sort of stuff. And obviously parents were at work and they drop the kids off at school during the school holidays or so the parents could work. And they asked me to come in and I came in and I was all ready to come in. I thought I'm going to do this design and I'm going to be really good at it. And I'd never, bearing in mind, my daughter's grown up and I have no grandchildren. So access to practice on real faces
Yeah.
during that 6 months was extremely limited. My daughter wasn't over keen with it, neither was my stepdaughters, who did allow me once, but that was about it. But so access to painting and practicing on real faces was limited, and I think that held me back a little bit in the beginning, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Practice boards are great and your own arm is great. I still paint on my own arm. I've got my own arm painted at the moment.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I turned up at this school and there were about, oh, I don't know, probably about 30 children, each between about 5 and 7,
Mm.
and they suddenly formed this huge queue. I was like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do here?" And but at the time, I thought I did really well. I thought,
Mm.
"Oh my gosh, I did really well," and I managed it, and the teachers helped me sort of get the kids away if there was a too big a queue and go and play and come back. But when I look back at my paints at that point, they weren't very good. They were a bit wobbly. My line work was awful.
Sounds like
But
a baptism of fire.
it was, oh my gosh, it was. And I was exhausted. I think I was there for 2 hours. And then the parents that were coming to pick up the children were like, I haven't had my face painted yet. Because obviously I was taking a lot longer than I
Mm.
should have done. But yeah, they weren't brilliant. But the kids loved them. A tiger looked like a tiger. Spider Man looked like Spider Man. He just wasn't the prettiest. So, but yeah, I'll never forget that one. I've got pictures of me standing with some of the children, and I look and I think, "Oh God, that's awful."
We've all got to start somewhere. And I think,
Yeah,
yeah, you can, like you said, you can practice for months and months, but until you have your first sort of conveyor belt party style thing, it doesn't really sink in, does it?
No, no, no. The speed that you have to paint is so different to any other kind of art.
Mm.
Because I used to do folk art. I learned how to do folk art. So a bit like so canal boat
Oh, yeah,
art.
yeah.
And I did a course on that prior to doing face painting. And that really helped because that talks about brush control. The thing with folk art is it's very slow and very measured and you take your time. The whole point of it is being slow and you take your time. Whereas face painting is being fast. It's
Yeah.
it's you know constantly fast. So it was a although I had the brush control in terms of I understood brushes and I understood paint consistency and all of that sort of stuff and color theory. I didn't understand how fast I had to be, and also painting vertically rather than horizontally.
Yeah. And painting a moving target.
Yeah, absolutely. A
A
wrigglesome.
fidgeting, talking, moving target. And
Exactly.
also, what I found tricky in the beginning was because you clean because you're doing the 3 brush system and you're keeping all your kit clean, that obviously takes time.
Yes,
So it's not like you said, where you would be just painting a piece of paper. You can keep dipping into the paint and the paint consistency remains the same. Because
absolutely.
I'm constantly reintroducing water, I'm having to make sure and recheck the consistency. And
Reloading,
that
yeah.
yeah, and that slows it down as well.
Yeah, I think
So
that's the biggest thing, I think, with face painting. When I get asked at a party, or how do you do this? And you make it look so easy, that sort of stuff. What's the big thing for me? One of the things that took me quite a long time to get right was that consistency,
mm,
the paint to water consistency. So it's either you get colour on their face or it's not dribbling down their face.
yeah,
And practicing that is really important. And obviously, when you're practicing on a practice board, the paint consistency and with
completely
water is
different.
different to on skin
Yeah.
to on cardboard. I tend to do practice on cardboard as well.
I
And again,
love
it's
painting
different.
cardboard
I
because
know.
it dries better, doesn't it?
Amazon boxes are the best.
Exactly, that's my excuse for ordering so much. Amazon and
Yes.
cereal boxes is what I use.
Yes, absolutely.
Your logo and your branding of the Artful Dabber, because you've got your brand new van as well, haven't you?
Right.
Yeah, I've been stalking you on, Instagram because it's so cool.
You.
And it's just instantly recognizable, isn't
Yeah.
it? And,
Yeah.
I just love the idea of you, pootling around in your van and everybody knowing. I love it. How
Good
did you
fun.
come up with your name and your branding?
So, a credit to my husband with the Artful Dabber. So, I went through everything. I wanted something that didn't mention my name. I just don't like my name in businesses. I didn't want that.
I'm
So,
exactly the same with mine.
yeah,
Mine's really hard to say and spell, so I'd rather leave my name out of anybody's
yeah,
of the
exactly.
equation.
And I don't know. I wanted something different and something with an element of humour attached to it. So we went through so many different ideas. I can't even remember them. But yeah, my husband came up with the Artful Dabber. And the minute he said it, I just clicked. I went, that's it. That's the one. That's the one. I love it.
Yeah.
And the actual logo is the idea of the logo. I wanted something really, really simple. I didn't want something fussy
Mm,
because I wanted to be able to use it on everything. And if it's too fussy, things like putting it on vans and things like that just doesn't work. So the actual logo, the idea is it's the petal sponges. It's actually the sponges.
I love
So
that.
that was the idea. So it's all the sponges covered in paint, and I have always had a thing about rainbows. I absolutely love rainbows. Bright colours and rainbows are me. So combined the rainbows and the sponges, you've got this sort of lotus flower design, which I know other people instantly don't know what it represents. But I think it's quite nice to have a story behind your logo.
Completely agree. I
And
completely agree. It's what I've done for the sponge logo. Is it's like the petal sponges go round to form a flower like that. And my husband saw it and went, "Oh, well, you could make it look a bit more flowery." And I was like, "No, because they're actually petal sponges, and face painters will understand that."
it's the same then. Yeah, that was my in my head. And
Yeah,
branding, I think branding is so important. I think, it's the first thing people see. It makes you look professional. In my old life, I worked for say public sector for a large organization where the brand of the organization was very important. And I worked with their branding managers on a lot of the stuff that I did in that organization. I learned a lot from them. around, making sure that, your branding is tight, it's clear, it's not too complicated. So for me, the branding was a bit of a project, and it's really worked. I love it. I've had a bit of a tweak. About 6 months ago, I had a bit of a tweak with the font, because I wanted to make it a little bit funnier, a little bit quirkier. But other than that, I love it, and it really, yeah, the van is amazing.
It's
I love the
great.
van. It was
I love that it's
worth the
just
expense.
yeah, it's just so unique. I honestly, like, when I saw it pop up on Instagram, I was like, "What a brilliant idea. What
Yeah,
a
it's
brilliant
lovely.
idea."
Did you see I've got, a neon wow in the side behind on the bulkhead behind me. So when I'm driving along, particularly when it's either getting dark or it's a bit
Mhm.
rainy, I get in my van, I press one little button which lights up all these flashing lights behind me on the bulkhead, because it's a Vauxhall Vivaro, so it's like a proper transit van. And then behind me, I've got a neon sign that says "Wow." On my one of my strap lines is creating wow moments.
I love it.
So when I'm driving along, so many times I've had a text or a phone call from someone, "I've just seen you. Wow, I've just seen you." So it
I
does
love
work.
it. It's like, for me, it reminds me of, like, an ice cream van, as in, when children see an ice cream van, it's instantly recognizable. They get excited just from seeing the van,
Yeah.
and I just yeah, just seeing your van pull up at an event or be an event, it's just like a homing beacon.
It has helped. My first van, I just got magnetic signs that I just put on
Mm,
the side, and even that works. Not everyone can stretch to a van, but I had to save up really hard for that and to get it all
I can imagine.
done. But even magnetic signs on the side of your car make a difference, because people know the minute you pull up with your signs on the car that that's you. And left in a car park outside, a hall that you're working in or whatever, it's free advertising, isn't it?
Yeah,
So
I love that. It's like just a clever, reliable, old school way of getting your name out and about in your local community.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, I love it.
So, one of the other things, because your whole social media is beautifully branded with all of your. Every time I look at your Instagram, I'm like, I need to be better at mine. I need to be better at mine. I need to put more thought into mine, because yours just looks, all of your posts are just beautiful, but they're all so recognizably you as well, like as the Artful Dad. And one of the things that I like the most about a lot of your social media posts, the ones where you have information in them, is you've got very clear boundaries around your pricing, your times, and your painting standards as well. How did you put those in place? Like, were you like that from the outset in your business, or did you learn the hard way?
Yeah, I'm nodding. I'm nodding. Yeah, I've been really lucky because I'm surrounded by really, experienced people in terms of face painters. So it's like I say, Juliet and all the people I went on courses. I sort of, I was like a sponge. I sucked so much information about them, out of them rather. One of the things I was really keen on was, once I realized I wanted to run it as a business, was doing it in a way that didn't exhaust me and make me ill again, because that's what that's why I left my last life. Um, so for me, boundaries were really, really important. But the most important thing to me was what I saw when I came in was that people just don't take face painters seriously. There's this, and I didn't. I'm just as guilty. I didn't. There's this, I don't know, underlying thing that, oh, face painters are just face painters. They're just hobbyists. They're not
It's
as
not
important.
not a real
Yeah.
job.
No, it's not. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, it's not a
Yeah.
real job. And that really frustrates me, because I know the amount of time and skill that goes into to this job. And speaking with all the, experienced face painters and listening to what they said, one of my sort of missions in my head was, well, okay, well, let me be another person like them that's trying to change that perception in the industry. I'm only a little person. I'm only in a small area. But if I can make a difference in my area about how we're perceived as professional artists, then that's a good thing, isn't it? So I was really keen to learn from the experienced face painters, but also put those boundaries into place to to make sure that my business ran properly, but also it put that message out, it was really important. I still get frustrated when I see entertainers being hired to do events and yet they want us to do paper face
Mm.
because they don't have a budget for a face painter. It's frustrating. I find it makes us it makes us feel undervalued.
Yeah.
It's not for everybody. Not everybody thinks like that, and I totally appreciate that. Some people love doing paper face events. It suits them for whatever reason. But for me, the first year, I did so many paper face events where I thought I'd do really, really well. And I was sitting 7, 8, 9, 10 hours in a field under a gazebo that I'd paid a lot of money for, with all my kit,
Mm.
and I was taking home, by the time I'd cleared everything, I was, making 100 quid, 50 quid, and I just thought, what am I doing? I could be with
Yeah.
my family. And then there's somebody else walking around, and they're great, the kids entertainers, dressed as, I don't know, Jack Sparrow or Sleeping Beauty or whatever, and they're earning £100 an hour, and I thought, well, why aren't we?
Yeah.
So for me, my
Especially
marketing
when on
is,
top of that, you have to
yeah,
pay an outrageous pitch fee.
exactly.
I mean, I was quoted one the other day that was like £150 because it was a big event with a big footfall. And I thought, so you want me to pay to come and provide the entertainment, which I will then charge people for as well. But that's not guaranteeing me. I just thought, no, because you have to start adding up how many people you'll get through. And if it pours it down with rain that day,
Yeah.
then I've
You're the
paid to
one
be
taking the
there, but
risk.
no one else is going to be.
Yeah. And the thing is, if you're doing that as the face painter, you're the one taking all of the risk. And I mean, I often, if I get approached like that, I go back and I say, no, this is my hourly rate. This is what I do. Have you thought about sponsorship to pay for me? And then you can offer free face painting as a draw for your event. Or, have you thought about, you can pay me my hourly rate and then charge customers per face. Oh, well, we don't want to take that risk. And then I think, well, why should I? Why should I take that risk? If you're
Yeah.
not confident in the footfall, why would I come along to your event even if you're not confident in the footfall? So yeah, I made a really big commitment to myself. The first year I made so many mistakes. The second year I thought, well, I'll try it again. I'll do a few. I'll do less paper face, and we'll see. Maybe it was just a funny blip that year. But this year, from January the 1st, my commitment was no paper face events. I'm just not going to do them anymore. I've wasted too much time and not made enough money to cover my overheads, let alone any profit doing those events. So that's my personal choice. I won't do them anymore.
I mean, that's very similar to what I've decided to do this year. I've sort of done Paperface last year, and some events are brilliant, and then other events, I can remember doing a dog show and sitting there for 4.5 hours,
Yeah.
and I just thinking, I think I might be getting sunburned here, and just sat there waiting, and it sort of took the joy out of it a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, there are worse places I could have been sat, obviously. But it did, yeah. Just compared to when you have a party or something and you've got the queue of people and you're just working through, it did sort of take the joy away. So this year, I've sort of, I think I'm probably following what you did. I've moved slightly into I'll do paper face, but what I'm going back to people is saying, you pay me my hourly rate, I'll take the money for you and then give you the
Yeah.
money at the end
Yeah.
because then
Exactly.
I'm guaranteed at least my hourly rate, and then maybe next year I'll be brave enough to say no paper face.
And you have a lot of people turn you down when you say
Yeah,
that. But then I think, well, then they're not my customers, I'd rather keep my diary open for paying customers that want me there for a party or an event and are prepared to pay me than fill it with paper face events where I don't know what I'm going to earn. So it's a personal choice. Every face painter is different. If a big festival came up and I thought, well, the footfall's really good, I know the weather forecast is pretty good because it's the middle of summer, I'll give it a go. I might do. I don't know. I prefer to know what I'm going to earn and cover my outgoing. That was just a personal choice that I made. You
it's
know,
also the
it,
benefit. The benefit of being self-employed is that you can make those choices as well, though, right? This is what I love. I love that I'm like, no, actually this year, I don't want to do that, so I'm not going to. I don't have to listen to some middle manager telling me that I have to, whether I like
Yeah.
it or not.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's what swayed me with the social media. I mean, a lot of people use their social media to do lots of tutorials, and like Donna does the Meta glasses and that, and it's fabulous. But for me, I want to use my social media to educate the public. That's what my purpose is. Yeah, they can see my work on my website. They can see elements of my work on social media. But the main point of my social media is to educate people and educate the public to try and make a difference in the industry, even albeit a tiny little bit. Who knows? May not. I may not be making any difference. Who knows?
Yours was the first page that I found really helpful in terms of from the business point of view for a face painter,
Good.
just because of how clear the content is, how confidently as well, that I feel like when I read it, I feel confident to say,
Good.
no, that's not my gig. Sorry, you're not my client. And that's not in a horrible way, but like you said, I can choose to keep my day free for a 2 hour birthday party, which means that I can have time for my family before and afterwards and still receive a nice chunk of money for a nice little birthday party and still see my family. Or I can sit at a dog show for 8 hours in the burning hot sun. And I
Yeah.
think by the end of it, I mean, I'd nearly packed up and gone home. I was just about to pack up and go home. I'd painted 14 faces and I was like, oh, and I was just screwing some of the lids back on, slowly considering packing up. And this poor dad came over surrounded by all of his nieces and nephews and his children. And I got another 6 faces, and I think it covered my pitch fee, and then maybe I made £20 after that,
We're
and
not
I was
vendors.
grateful that I'd covered my pitch fee at that point.
And I think I've had conversations with Heather and Rainbow Tiger face painting about this. You know, the problem is what we're doing by doing that is pitching ourselves to the public as vendors, like somebody who's selling necklaces or what crochet things. And what happens is because we know that we're not going to earn a lot just doing the face painting potentially, we then start adding extras to our stall and we become vendors because we're selling hair bands and hair
Mm,
extensions and stuff. So we do become vendors. So we're almost going on this vicious circle, you know?
yeah,
And so again, if I'm going as a hired entertainment to support your event. That's what I am. I'm the same as Spider-Man or the magician or whatever. But like I said, the whole purpose of my social media isn't to tell people what to do. It's just to say this is how I do it. This is my thoughts on it, and to give people the opportunity to reflect on their thoughts and what they want and what's best for them. I would never say this is the way you should do it because my way may not work for someone else. But it offers a point of reflection. And I think that's the sort of key of what I'm trying to do.
yeah. Well, I definitely found them helpful because they were the first post that I'd read that made me think, no, actually, you're right. I don't have to do paper face, and I should maybe consider not doing paper face and being a bit more forthright in the service that I offer to be paid my rate and collect the money on their behalf and pay it to them at the end or whatever. But I don't think I would have had the confidence to do that before. Have you ever struggled with sort of confidence or imposter syndrome?
All the time, sitting here right now. Yeah, all the time. Often people say to me, you're really confident. You can chat to
Mm,
people. I'm not. I'm not confident. I'm not confident about my face painting. I look at other people's work and think, oh my gosh, I'm rubbish compared to them. The Juliet Eves and the Donna Godfreys and the Amanda Carefords of this world,
yeah.
and I think because we all compare ourselves. But
Yeah.
yes, imposter syndrome is rife.
It is. It's really hard because I find it hard to remember that 99% of the parents and the children that I'm painting, they don't know what other face painters' work look like.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And a lot of them, if they do, there's still a lot of volunteer face painters that are just doing it. They're just like from the school at a school fete, they'll just paint a few faces, sort of really basic. That's absolutely fine. They're volunteering to do it. So most of them don't have the high standards that I have in my head
Yeah,
to
yeah,
compare it
yeah.
to.
We put pressure on ourselves, don't we, to be, but the children, as long as the children are happy. I was at the face convention. There were people there who've been painting for 20, 30 years and incredible painters. amazing. And I had major imposter syndrome on that day. I was like, "Oh my gosh, well, am I ever going to be like that? Maybe one day someone will look at me like that. Who
Well,
knows?"
that's how I look at you. You're driving around in your super van. You've got this Instagram full of like brilliantly branded things, beautiful work. And I'm like, I mean, I suffer with imposter syndrome. I suffer with anxiety and social anxiety. I love working with kids because I don't feel that anxiety, because you get a 5-year-old plonk themselves down and they want to be a rainbow tiger and that's all they care about. They don't care who I am, what I've done, or anything. It's all face value for them. And I love that. But yeah, I was going to go to the face convention. Then I changed my mind. Then I changed it back again. Then I told myself to be brave. And then anyway, I worked myself up into a right flap about it. I didn't end up going, but I did rest for the weekend, which actually turned out to be more beneficial because I was weighing up that I'd been staying up till midnight every night doing this, that, and the other, and podcast editing. And I was thinking, Siobhan, take a step back. This is the point where you burn out. So I was proud of myself for not going, but then I know it was also swayed by anxiety of like, I'm not going to know anybody and I feel like an imposter. And
Yeah.
so I chickened out a little bit.
Well, that's really the benefit. I'm on a WhatsApp group of about 50
Mm,
face painters across Essex, Suffolk, Norfolk, and Cambridgeshire. And I set that up a year and a half ago. And
mm,
it's been an absolute godsend. Everyone on it is lovely. Everyone supports each other. If there's a job that needs covering, someone can cover it. We have conversations about all sorts of face painting and non face painting related things on there. You can dip in and out as you please. But it also means if there's a big event like a convention, like I went with another face painter, Timia. We went together. I drove, she came with
yeah,
me. So we had each other. We already knew each other, and then we
yeah,
had each other at the event because those conventions are fabulous. They're really worth going to, and everybody is so friendly and so supportive. It's such a nice atmosphere.
yeah.
So anybody who listens to this who hasn't been to one of the conventions or jams, go. Just
It's one
go.
of those things as well. I know as soon as I go to one, I'll be absolutely fine.
Yeah,
But because
yeah.
it's like we've got to get over that first hurdle.
You don't have to paint, you can just look around. I didn't paint on Saturday. I could have done, but I didn't. I wanted to see other people. But what you do need is to save up your pennies or take a credit card. But it's lovely because you, like you say, all the people, and you see the same people, so you start to get to know people.
Mm,
But having that network of face painters within your area, again, building a network of people that you can, if you feel sick or I don't know, you double book or you make a mistake or, you get inquiries for something that you can't cover. If you can share that with
yeah,
other people that you know are professional, that you know if you're going to recommend them, they're not going to let you down, and that are using all the right products, doing it hygienically, etc., etc. I've never had a problem finding someone to cover one of my jobs on the rare occasions that I've had to do that. And then also some of the bigger jobs that I get, I do some quite big jobs where I need 3 or 4 face painters. I just go in the group and go, right, this is the date, this is the time, who's up for it? I do all the organising, I get all the money into me, and then I pay them.
yeah.
And that works really well because I don't have to put stuff out on Facebook. I don't have to worry about being able to find someone. I know that I've got a reliable group of people within that WhatsApp group that I can lean on, and they're
Yeah,
lovely.
that's something that I'm learning more and more as well. It's like I know I just said about anxiety and stuff, but I've definitely felt the more that I've reached out to people to do this podcast or to be part of the community or just to get advice, it is really, really good to network. Juliet was telling me to go along to local business networking days and events within your area because she said, no, they're not face painters, but you might meet the person that prints signage and you might meet, I don't know, the owner of the local leisure centre who might coincidentally be having an open day soon. So might actually want to hire you to promote their open day. And it all sort of goes networks, I suppose.
Yeah, and even closer to home, if you're at a party and you meet a bouncy castle provider
Mm,
or a children's entertainer, I always get their cards. And then when I'm on Facebook, when I'm doing my posts or doing anything to me, I'll see someone, they'll ask for an entertainer or they'll ask for, a bouncy castle. I'll literally type in there as the Artful Dabber, or you need to contact so and so, they're really good, or they're going good. Because I think that also shows willing that you're supporting other businesses that are in your local area, and then they'll support you.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
when my name will go up, the Artful Dabber, but underneath it will be, why haven't you tried, I don't know, Adorable Antics? Contact them. And of course, whoever's looking at it then sees Adorable Antics, but they also see me. So you're
Yeah.
getting double. You're helping him, the other the other business, but you're also still promoting yourself without actually promoting yourself, you know? So that's always a one thing I do. Having that connection with all the local other children's entertainers is really useful.
What what's a lesson that you've learned the hard way that's maybe, really stuck with you?
A single lesson, I would find it hard to pinpoint. I've mentioned the paper face. I think probably just being really, really clear with your communication, very clear about what you'll do and what you'll not do. And don't worry if somebody doesn't book you. If someone came back to me last night, I chased up a lady who'd asked for a quote. I gave her a quote. She then silenced, radio silence. She's
The
very, very,
old ghosting technique.
very, very common. So I thought, right, I'll send her a nice little WhatsApp and say, had you thought about it? No pressure if you've changed your mind. And she actually came back and said, look, you're not within my budget. Well, I went back and said, absolutely fine, no problem. Have a great party, whatever you decide to do. But I think it's actually that, understanding that not everybody is going to book you. I know that sounds really obvious, but don't worry about it. You set your price. Set your
Mm,
price because it's your value, your time, your resources, your care, everything that you've put into it, your training. You set your price, a price that's going to earn you some money and stick to it. If they don't book you, they don't book you. Move on. There'll be someone else. That,
yeah.
birthday parties happen every single year. Events happen every single year, and the longer you work, the easier it'll be. This year, my bookings are coming in thick and fast.
Mm.
For the first time. Last year, they were trickling through. This year, I'm getting lots and lots of bookings coming through thick and fast. I'm quite surprised, particularly as I obviously turned down Paper Face. I'm getting lots of paid bookings coming in. And, they're willing to pay what I'm asking. So don't undercut yourself, don't undercut
Yeah.
others, don't undersell yourself. And every booking that isn't a booking leads to one that is a booking. I suppose that's probably my biggest lesson. Don't worry about it. It's not because you're not popular or you're no good. It's just that they're not your customer.
I like that. Do you have a standout nightmare customer or a nightmare gig or something? No names, obviously, but something that you was maybe particularly funny or particularly hard work?
I had a festival, which was 2 years ago, which I won't name, local festival, which was a mud pit, complete mud pit. And I had to leave at 11 o'clock at night because they wouldn't let you off site until 11 o'clock at night in the pitch black and the mud. Um, I swore to myself I'm never doing it again. And I earned very, very little money because it was a small festival.
Mm.
So in terms of that type of thing, yeah. In terms of, I just love the birthday parties. I just think the birthday parties, yeah, a class of 30 kids, which is generally what it is nowadays,
Mm.
isn't it? Yeah, I think the birthday parties are the things that I enjoy the most. I don't really have a terrible story of anything other than the mud.
Well, I have one similar actually that I've just remembered from last year where I finished it was at like a festival, not like a massive, massive festival, but I think there's probably about 10,000 people there. And I left just before the show ended. So I thought I was really impressed with myself. I thought I'm chugging along with my little wagon and all my kit behind me, thinking I'm going to get out before the cars start queuing to get out. And in my rush, when I'd arrived, I'd not really paid any attention to where I'd booked. Well, where I'd parked. And obviously, there were still people arriving after I did. So I turned up to fields and fields of cars in the pitch black with no idea which car was mine. It
Oh,
took me 45 minutes to find my car, by which point the show had ended and everybody else had come out and found their car. But there was loads, I'd say 50% of the people were walking around going, I don't know where my car is. We're all pressing our keys, trying to get the car to flash at us. But I was miles away because I was just so disorientated. It's an absolute nightmare. So what should have been a nice quick getaway and wouldn't have had to queue to get out of this festival. I think I was one of the last people out. In the end, I had to sort of just stand back and think, if I have to wait for every other car to leave before I find my car, then so be it. But I'm not walking up and down this field one more time.
it's here somewhere. We're just waiting to let
Exactly.
it
I
out. Yeah.
know. I thought I'll be the last one.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Well, see, that's why you need a van like mine. because you can't
Well,
lose it.
exactly. You could have switched the lights on and we'd have all known.
That's it. You can't miss it. We're covered in rainbows. Yeah, I think most of us have been there.
What
Yeah.
do you wish you'd known sooner in your journey?
What do I wish I'd known sooner? I'm known for spending far too much money on things. It gives me pleasure. I like to try things out. I have got far too much kit. I have. But no, I don't think I don't. Yeah, I know that should be the right thing to say, but no. I think it goes back. I know it's a bit boring, but I think it just goes back to the boundaries. Setting those boundaries, making sure people good communication with your customers, what to expect, making sure when you turn up, you know where you are, how many kids you've got, whether there's any specific designs. There's no under threes. It's about communication. I've never gone somewhere where I haven't known, and keeping in touch with customers. I think it's boring, but it's business, isn't it?
Yeah.
I suppose. Yeah, I think in the beginning, I didn't really realize quite how serious a business it was in the background. Everyone said, "Oh, you only work at weekends," but you don't, because during the week you're practicing, you're doing invoices, you're answering emails, you're doing your social media, you're cleaning your kit. There's all of that work that goes on during the week. So God knows how people do it on a full-time job and working a full-time job as well, because I couldn't have done that.
No,
No way.
no, no,
But it
I
depends what you
don't.
want from the business, doesn't it? It depends on how you want to run it. If you just want to run it as a side hustle, then you make time, don't you? But
Yeah.
if you want to run it as a serious business, which I'm trying to, you have to put the time in.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. Because if you don't,
It's nice that you get customers coming back, isn't it? The same customers. I've done a ladies' party. This is the third year in a row I've just done. And that's really nice. And the local parish council, because obviously I'm countrified out here,
mm,
they're having me back again for another event in the summer. And so having those repeat customers is really nice because you're doing a good job.
yeah, it's nice when the kids come up to you as well. Although I was at a Christmas light switch on recently, and one of the engineers came running over to me and was like, "My daughter had her face painted at the pumpkin patch, and she loved it. She's going to be delighted that you're here." And I was like, "Okay, thank you." I was like completely taken aback because he made a beeline for me, and I was like, "Oh, that made me feel really special."
Had that. I was looking at all the Christmas stuff with my mum and dad in a garden centre just before Christmas, and this lady walked past with me with this little boy and little girl, and the little boy was poking his mum, "Mum, mum, 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 that's the face painting lady. That's the face painting." And when I go out on my jobs, I wear rainbow dungarees, and
Mm.
my branding is extended to what I wear. I just it's crazy because it's the only opportunity I get to wear rainbow dungarees. She says sitting here in full black. But yeah, and he recognised me. And I felt so special. My mum and dad were like, "What's that all about?" And I said, "Oh, they just recognised me as the face painter." And it
There
was
you
just so
go.
cute. It was
You're a
so
celebrity to
I
all of the
know.
5-year-olds near Bury St Edmund.
And I went to the gym the other day as well. And I've joined a new gym, and I was, doing the old deadlifts and things like that. Got chatting to a lady. She said, "What do you do?" I said, "I'm a face painter." She said, "You're the Artful Dabber." She said, "I recognise you. You've painted my kids' faces." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, I am." As I'm sweating and looking atrocious.
So what's next for you and the Artful Dabber then?
So, well, I'm going on an airbrush course this weekend.
Ooh,
So I have an airbrush kit, which I spent far too much money on, and I've tried it out, and I really like it, and I'd like to add that to my options. So that's something that I'd like to continue learning. I don't feel ready to take it out into the public properly yet. I've done one party, and I wasn't overly pleased with what I did. So yeah, before I do that in public again, I want to get this course under my belt. At the FACE conference, I tried balloon modelling, and I've always wanted to do it, but I didn't quite realise how difficult it was. So I'm considering adding that in and learning that over the next year. I'd like to do that because I'd like to have options to
yeah.
show, to give people, because, sometimes they don't want face painting. It'd be nice to give them something different.
Mm.
And I've also drafted a book.
Wow.
Yeah. So its first draft is finished. It's gone out to a few people to have a look at, a few more experienced people to have a look at.
Mm.
It's about face painting, obviously.
That's so exciting.
It's not a how-to book, like I was saying earlier. It's not a do this or get this or buy this. or don't do this. It's almost like a mindfulness and a reflection book. So it's a little bit different, I think, to things that are out there at the moment. And the idea is that it gives people something to refer to if they're looking to consider themselves a professional face painter as a point of reflection. So using all the stuff that I've done on social media and turning it into a sort of, have you considered that? Have you thought about that? So it talks about boundaries. It talks about pricing. It talks about social media. It talks about branding. But it doesn't say, have a 3-cup water system and these are how you use angle brushes and stuff like that. So it's very much a reflection book, and it comes with certain quotes within it, which I'm hoping to put into little cards that will come with the book, which they can be like points of reflection so you can think about stuff. So, the quotes are, again, quite mindful quotes. And the idea is that, when you're thinking about your business, have a think about this particular quote, and it will prompt what you thought about that and how you were going to address that or how you were going to approach that. So it doesn't tell you what to do. It just shows you ways to think about stuff and gives you ideas of, different ways of looking at things, I suppose. So yeah, it's done, but it's not published.
Absolutely love the sound of this. I cannot wait for that.
Maybe I can give you a copy and you can give me some feedback.
Do you know what? I'll be on the pre-order list. That's what I'll be on. I will be on that pre-order list. That is right up my street. And
Yeah.
I love the fact that it's a physical book as
Yes.
well.
Yeah. I mean, I want to get it done as a proper book. I
Yeah.
will put it online as well, hopefully. But again, I'm still at the stage where I'm giving it to people just to get a bit of feedback at the
Yeah.
moment. So, but I'd like to get that published this year. That's another goal I'd like to achieve.
Oh, well, I wish you every success with
Yeah.
that and all the luck that it needed and getting it over the last few hurdles, I suppose.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
And where can people find you? What's your Instagram handle?
The.artful.dabber. Had to put dots in between each one. The.artful.dabber.
I'll
The
pop it
same.
down in the description when this goes
Yeah.
live as well.
Same on TikTok as well. And I do have a website as well. So
Lovely. Well,
thank you.
thank you so much for coming on, Sarah. Honestly, I've had such a lovely time chatting with you.
Lovely. Thank you.
That's it for today's episode of Sponge Stories. If you found this helpful or it made you think, oh, thank God it's not just me, I'd love for you to share it with another face painter who needs to hear it. Don't forget to follow or subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. There's plenty more real talk and a bit more waffle coming your way. And if you've got a story, a question, or you'd even like to come on the podcast, you can email me at hello@spongecommunity.co.uk or send us a DM over on Instagram, Sponge Stories.